मैडम स्टार्ट कीजिए।
Hello, I am audible to all. Hello.
मैडम स्टार्ट कीजिए। काइंडली स्टार्ट मैडम। सर आप स्टार्टिंग कीजिए सर। सर योर वॉइस इज नॉट ऑडिबल।
सुनाई दे रहा है? हेलो हेलो।
यस सर अभी सुनाई देता है सर।
तो स्टार्ट करें फिर।
ओके सर स्टार्ट सर।
ओके, थैंक यू। सो एक सेकंड मैं शेयर कर देता हूँ स्क्रीन। Okay. Good evening, dear learners. Today we will discuss about measurement of national income India, and thank you Odisha State Open University Sambalpur has given me chance to teach dear learners. So myself, Dr. Manoj Kumar Sahoo, Assistant Professor of Nalanda Institute of Technology, Bhubaneswar. So today we will discuss about various aspects of national income measurement. First, we will discuss about the introduction, measures for national income, methods of measuring national income, and what are the issues or problems encountered in case of a measurement of a national income. So the first thing we will discuss about the definition of a national income. Basically, national income is the final output of all economic activities of a nation valued in terms of money. National income is the most important macroeconomic variables and determinant of the business level and environment of a country. The level of national income determines the level of aggregate demand for goods and services. Basically, national income is the total money value of all the goods and services that is produced in a country in an accounting year or in a financial year. Economic activity generally generate a large number of goods and services and make net addition to the national stock of capital. So overall, if you define national income, it is the total money value of all the final goods and services that is produced in an accounting year, or basically a year is known as the national income. Income of a nation is known as national income. But if you move to the national income in a broader sense, so it is the total money value of all the final goods and services, not the intermediate goods, only the final goods and services that is produced in a country over a year, over a period of time, basically 1 year, is known as national income. Now, what are the measures are used in a case of a national income? The first measure is the gross national product. So, the gross national product is defined as the value of all the final goods and services produced during a specific period, usually 1 year, plus income earned from foreign by the nationals minus income earned locally by the foreigners. So GNP, gross national product, is equal to gross national income. And the difference between the two is only procedural nature. While GNP is estimated on the basis of a product flow, the gross national income is estimated on the basis of money income flows in terms of wages, profit, rent, and interest. So gross national product is basically defined as all the final goods and services that is produced during a year by only the residents of Indians, not by the foreigners. So whatever we earned from the foreign country, that will be deducted from the calculation of gross national product. But in case of gross domestic product, is the market value of all the final goods and services produced in the domestic territory of a country in a year, where we include the incomes which we earned from the foreigners by the nationals. Okay, so that means in case of a gross domestic product, we include the incomes earned abroad by the nationals. And it is the total money value of all the final goods and services produced in the domestic territory of the country, and that is in a year. In case of a gross national product GNP, we include only the products what is produced by the nationals only, by the residents of Indians only. But in case of a gross domestic product, we include the residents and non-residents of the Indians. Both are calculated in a year, and all the final goods and services is taken into consideration for calculation of a GDP at GNP. Okay, and now moving to the third measure which we use, that is net national product. So net national product is defined as the gross national product minus depreciation. So NNP is equal to GNP minus depreciation. Now what is the concept of a depreciation? Depreciation is defined as there is a reduction in a value of a fixed assets. Suppose a car we have purchased at 5 lakhs, but after 5 years when we sell that car we get 1 lakh. So where is the 4 lakhs? That 4 lakh is the depreciation charges, or we call it as the wear and tear charges. So depreciation is that part of total productive assets which is used to replace the capital worn out in the process of creating. So that means whatever amount has been replaced, or we can call as replacement charges, or wear and tear charges, or we can call it as the greasing charges for a machineries. So that all are included in the depreciation charges. So depreciation charges basically it is a reduction in the value of a fixed assets. Okay. So GNP is the process of producing goods and services, and a part of total stock of capital is used up. So depreciation is the term used to denote the worn out warranty charges or used of capital that will be deducted from the GNP, then we'll get the NNP. So net national product is the difference between a gross national product minus depreciation charges. Now, the national income of a country can be measured by three alternative methods, that is, product method, income method, and expenditure method. In case of a product method, we calculate the value of all the final products, not the intermediate products. I have already explained in the previous class that intermediate products are those products which help for the production of final products. Final products are those products which are used directly by the customer, by the consumer. It is not used for further. Suppose this shirt is the final product, or whatever cloth is used for making of this shirt, that becomes the intermediate products. And if you take the cloth as the final product, then the raw cotton tula is also called as the intermediate products. So in case of a national income calculation, we take into consideration only the final product, not the intermediate products, because the reason is that there will be double counting. So whenever we take the case of a shirt, so the shirt price will be taken into consideration. Again, we will take the cloth prices. So for that reason, we only take the final products, that is the shirt price, not the cloth price. So in case of product method, we only take the final products, the money value of all the final products taken into consideration for calculation of national income through product method. Second is the calculation of national income through income method. In case of income method, as you know, there are four factors of production, basic factors of production: land, labor, capital, organization. So land's income is rent, labor's income is wages, and capital interest is capital's income is interest, and the manager's income is the profit. Okay, so whenever we add all these factors, the rent plus wages plus interest plus profit, and we get a figure that is called as the calculation of national income through income method. Because all these are the factors, income is calculated, rent, profit, interest, wages, all these things are calculated, and we reach at the final figure, that is national income through income method. And in case of expenditure method, there are basically expenditure method is used by the C means the consumption expenditure done by the household sector. I stands for the investment expenditure done by the private authorities, all the private companies. And G stands for government expenditure. Government does also expenditures on the basis of a road, canal, airport, parks, okay, school, college, hospital. So all these expenditures are done by the government. That is autonomous. So when we add all these three expenditures, C consumption expenditure, I investment expenditure, and G government expenditures, then we calculate national income through expenditure method. Okay, so these are the different methods. There are also another two methods are there. Basically, these are the three methods. Two method, another is fourth one is the social accounting method. What is that? Social accounting method. Whenever we take the book of accounts of all the companies, maybe private and public, so all the companies books of account is taken into consideration. So where all the companies transactions are maintained, the record of transactions is maintained in the accounts book. So we take all these data and we calculate national income through social accounting method. And last one is combined method. Basically, India uses the combined method of calculation of national income because so for tally purpose, for comparative purpose, we also use product method. Sometimes we use income or expenditure method, or product or expenditure method, income or product method. So combined methods will give you the proper idea, and we can compare both the methods, the final figure that is correct or wrong. So for that purpose, we sometimes use combined method of calculation of national income. So there are five methods of national income, but the most important are product method, income method, and expenditure method. So already we have discussed all these things. Now there are some accounting matrices are used or indices are used in case of GNP, GDP, NNP, NDP. So GNP is equal to GNI or gross national income. GTP is equal to GNP less net income from abroad. So to reach at the GDP, we have to deduct net income from abroad from GNP. And if you want to reach at NNP, then you have to deduct depreciation charges from the GNP. And NDP, net domestic product, is equal to NNP, net national product, minus net income from abroad. Okay, so if you want to reach at the NDP, net domestic product, you have to deduct net factor income from abroad. So what is NFIA? Net factor income from abroad. Net factor income from abroad, NFIA, is the so, so whatever factors are working in India, means laborers are also working in foreign countries. Our laborers also foreign countries, laborers, engineers, doctors are also working in India. Okay, so they are also taking some loans from our country. We are also taking loans from their countries. So all these factor incomes will be प्लस माइनस किया जाएगा उसमें जो भी रिजल्ट निकलेगा दैट विल बी डिडक्टेड फ्रॉम द नेट डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्ट. अगर प्लस फिगर आया तो ऐड किया बेसिकली ऐड किया जाएगा. और माइनस बेसिकली होता है फैक्टर इनकम को हम माइनस कर देते हैं एनएनपी से एनडीपी में पहुंचने के लिए. सो एनडीपी नेट डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्ट, क्योंकि हियर द वर्ड इज डोमेस्टिक, नेट डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्ट. So domestic means here we will take into consideration only the our country's production. So for that purpose we just basically deduct the net factor income from abroad. बाहर से जो भी इनकम आए हम उसको माइनस कर देते हैं एनएनपी से. So to reach at the NDP. Now GNP also is also two types. One is the GNP at a factor cost, GNP at a market price. Okay. So GNP at factor cost means, so when we calculate GNP by taking into consideration all the factor incomes, then it is called as GNP at factor cost. Whenever we add or we take the market prices of goods and services, okay, for calculation of GNP, then it is called as GNP at market prices. So whenever we want to calculate GNP at a factor cost, then we have to deduct net indirect taxes from the GNP at market prices. Okay, so GNP at a factor cost is equal to GNP at market price minus net indirect taxes. Similarly, NNP at factor cost is equal to NNP at market prices minus net indirect taxes. NDP at factor cost, net domestic product at factor cost, is equal to net national product at market price minus net income from abroad. Similarly, NDP at factor cost is equal to NDP at a market price less net indirect taxes. So to reach at also NDP at a factor cost, then we have to also calculate GDP at a market prices minus depreciation charges. So there are two methods where you can calculate the NDP. So NDP at factor cost is equal to GDP at market prices minus depreciation. GDP at market prices means whenever we calculate the GDP by taking into consideration all the products market prices, then we call it as the GDP at market prices. So whatever price is written on the packet, on the box, that is the market price, MRP. So whenever we take into consideration the market price for calculation of GDP, then it is called as GDP at market price. So to reach at NDP at factor cost, we have to deduct the depreciation charges from the GDP at market prices. So these are the different types of accounting identities of factor cost. Now ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ नेट इनकम फ्रॉम अब्रॉड, जो मैं पहले सब बोल रहा था कि व्हाट इज एनएफआईए, नेट इनकम फ्रॉम अब्रॉड. So in this process, some nations get a net income through foreign trade, while some lose their income to foreigners also. The net earnings or loss in foreign trade affects the national income. So in measuring the national income, the net concept and measurement results of external transactions are adjusted to the total transactions. So net income from abroad are added to, and net in losses to the foreigners are deducted from the total national income. जो मैं बोल रहा था कि अगर हम प्लस फिगर मिलेगा हम उसको ऐड किया जाएगा, और बेसिकली अगर हम माइनस फिगर मिलता है तो फॉरेनर से हम उसको माइनस कर देंगे जीडीपी से. ओके. So total national income arrived at through any of the on any of the above three methods. Okay. Now what are the measurement of national income in India? So this is the history of measurement of national income in India. So in India, a systematical measurement of national income was first attempted in the year 1949. Earlier, many attempts were made by some individuals and institutions, but the good figure or the exact figure or may not reach at the proper figure for national income. So in basically in 1949, a systematical measurement of national income was first attempted. Well, India's national income was made by Dadabhai Naroji in the year 1867 to 68, but the systematical measurement came into existence in the year 1949. In 1949, a National Income Committee (NIC) was appointed with P.C. Mahalnobis as its chairman and D.R. Godgil and V.K. R.B. Rao as the members of this National Income Committee. So the National Income Committee not only highlighted the limitations of the statistical system of that time, but also suggested ways and means to improve data collection systems. So at the time, the problem was the collection of the proper data from different sources. The proper data, if not collected from different sources or not from the valid sources, or you may get the wrong figure of a national income. So in the year 1949, exactly the systematical method, proper source is collected data for calculation of national income. So there is an improvement data system is implemented by three economists like your P.C. Mahalnobis, who was the chairman at the time, and D.R. Godgil, V.K. R.B. Rao was the members, were the members of this committee. And on the recommendation of this committee, the director of National Sample Survey (NSSS) was set up to collect additional data required for estimating national income. So, Directorate of National Sample Survey at that time was also set up to collect data from different sources to calculate the national income of India. Now, what methodology was used in India? Currently, net output and factor income method are used by the CSO, Central Statistical Organization, to estimate the national income of the country. But the output method is used for agriculture and manufacturing sector, that is commodity producing sector. For these sectors, the value added method is adopted. Okay, value added or product method. Value added method is also known as product method. But income method is used for the service sector, including trade, commerce, transportation, government services. So I have already told that India uses combined method for calculation of national income. Okay, you see, for agriculture and manufacturing sector, India uses the product method, whereas income method is used to in case of service sectors like your trade, commerce, transportation, and government services. So in its conventional series of national income statistics from 1950 to 51 to 1960 to 61, the CSO Central Statistical Organization had categorized the income in 13 sectors. पूरा जो डाटा आ रहा था, इनकम आ रहा था, तो ये 13 सेक्टर से को मतलब 13 सेक्टर में डिवाइड कर दिया था सीएसओ ने, सेंट्रल स्टैटिस्टिकल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने 13 सेक्टर से डाटा लेके नेशनल इनकम कैलकुलेशन कर रहे थे. But in the revised series, it had adopted the following 15 breakups of the national income for estimating the national income. That means अभी जो national income कैलकुलेशन किया जा रहा है वो 15 सेक्टर से डाटा लिया जा रहा है. Basically, all the important the priority sectors, your oil, your consumer goods, your transportation, Okay, so service sector, agriculture sector, industrial sector. Okay, so all these sectors are the important sectors. So basically, 15 sectors are taken into consideration for calculation of national income. So what are these sectors? You can see agriculture, forestry and logging, fishing sector, mining and quarrying, large scale manufacturing, small scale manufacturing, construction, real estate sector, electricity, gas and water supply, transportation and communication, real estate and dwellings, public administration and defense, other services. Finally, the external transactions also taken into consideration for calculation of national income nowadays. These are the 15 sectors. So national income is estimated at both constant and current prices. So national income is also calculated through base prices and also the current prices. Okay. Now national income is the market value of all the final goods and services that is produced in a country in a year generally, and in a calculator that is national income. So in general, there are three important measures of national income. Already we have discussed all these things: GNP, GDP, and NNP. Okay. So in measuring gross national product, income and growth by the nationals is added, and income earned by the foreigners in the country is subtracted from the national income estimation. Be clear that in case of gross national product, as it is national gross national product, so whatever income earned abroad by the nationals, that is added, and income earned by foreigners in the country, that is subtracted from the national incomes. But in case of a GDP calculation, we include both residents and non-residents of Indians. Okay, so that is the calculation about GNP, GDP. Already I have discussed all these things. NNP, net national product, is defined as the gross national product minus depreciation charges, and depreciation equals the loss of national capital in the process of a production. So there are three methods of measuring national income: value added method, that is the product method; factor income method, that is the normal income method; and basically the third one is expenditure method. The choice of method depends on the availability of data required for estimating national income. Okay, so which method depends on the availability of data required for the estimation of national income. So depend करता है कि कौन सा डाटा अवेलेबल है और कौन सा मेथड में ज़्यादा डाटा और accurate data or valid data is available. So depending upon the data availability, so that method is used for calculation of national income. So sometimes two or all the three methods are combined to estimate the national income in India. Okay, so there is an organization called Central Statistical Organization (CSO) estimates the national income, and it uses the output method or a factor income method. Okay, so national income measurement chapter is finished. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, we will move to the another concept that is called green accounting system. Okay, so another concept is green accounting system. Okay, I think you all are seeing my slides. Okay, now the next thing which we cover, that is the green accounting. So green accounting is a type of accounting which attempts to factor environmental costs or the green costs, okay, into the financial results of operations. So it has been argued that gross domestic product ignores the environment, and therefore policymakers need a revised model that incorporates the green accounting system. Basically, green accounting, okay, is a type of accounting that attempts to factor environmental costs and the financial results of operations. So basically, we produce goods and services from this planet, but we did not take into consideration the whatever pollution we do for the society, for the planet, in terms of dumping waste materials into the sea, into the river, creating pollution by running different factories, and also by vehicle pollution, and also plastic pollution. We throw plastics after use in the sea. Okay, so all these wildlife has been affected by this pollution, by this cutting of trees, fossil fuels also, and also the sea creatures are also in danger. So we are not taken into consideration all these factors whenever we calculate the national income basically. So now the green environmentalists, green economists are now shouting for why the government is not taken into consideration of all these factors, because whatever resources are using by the factories, by the industries, by us, we use from all this planet, but they have also some value. Okay, but we are not taken into consideration for calculation of national income through this from this the hazards whatever we do for the environment. Okay, so for that purpose, a new concept is developed, that is green accounting. So a green accounting is basically a type of accounting that attempts to factor environmental costs. So what we do for the environment? We are not caring about the environment. We are not preserving the environment for the future generations. So it has been argued that gross domestic product ignores the environment, and therefore policymakers need a revised model that incorporates a green accounting. जैसे अभी प्रोडक्ट मेथड था, इनकम मेथड था, एक्सपेंडिचर मेथड था फॉर कैलकुलेशन बेसलाइन इनकम, सिमिलरली green accounting system should be implemented for calculation of baseline income, where all these pollution factors, all these environmental costs, environmental hazards will be taken into consideration for calculation of baseline income. Now, green accounting, which is also called as the environmental accounting, was introduced by an economist and Professor Peter Wood in the year 1980. So, the Professor Peter Wood in the year 1980 first time introduced the concept of environmental accounting or green accounting, which plays very important role in today's corporate social responsibility. CSR, corporate social responsibility. There is a mandatory rule that at least 2%, 2 to 3% of their profit they will spend, means the companies will spend on CSR activities, corporate social responsibility. All the companies, a mandatory rule. Okay, so any company will invest 2 to 3% of their income from the profit percentage, that is from the dividend, but for the corporate social responsibility activities, for opening schools, hospital, for education, sanitation, plantation, okay, waste material management, all these activities. It incorporates environmental sources and the assets into company's account. Now, what happens whenever the Peter Wood introduced the concept of green accounting or environmental accounting? He incorporates the environmental sources and the assets that is used for company's account. Okay, so First time green accounting was introduced by Peter Wood in the year 1980. The green accounting also plays very important role for the CSR activities. Okay, so it's a very good thing. We should include all this green accounting system for the saving of this, for the future of this environment, future of this planet. Okay, so Professor Peter Wood is the one who introduced the term environmental accounting system in the year 80s, 1980s, and based on the SIA framework, that is, I think, social environmental some accounting system. Later, I will explain what is CEA framework or model. Many countries followed their own satellite accounts to calculate green GDP. So basically, nowadays, advanced countries, uh, developed countries are also adopting green GDP concept. They have introduced green accounting system in their calculation of GDP. So the green GDP can be estimated according to the following formula. So green GDP is equal to NDP minus imputed environmental cost. So whatever environmental cost that is included or we do harmful to this environment, that is deducted from net domestic product. Then we achieve the green GDP, where NDP is equal to GDP minus depreciation of man-made capital. So whatever capital we have made, and that value has been depreciated, and we have to deduct this from the GDP. Then we will get the NDP. Now moving further, green accounting provides useful information regarding decision making for the level and structure of a production, value of a investment, and environmental cost. So what kind of information you get from this green accounting system for decision making? Okay, for structural production system and the amount of investment and what are the costs we have done for this environment. And basically, green accounting identifies and analyzes the environmental costs and an afferent debt identifies and manages the ratio between the environmental expenses and its afferent debt. So it says that we have to manage any environmental cost, the ratio between the environmental expenses and whatever debt we have done for preservation of this environment. So all these things are taken into consideration whenever we calculate the environmental costs. So we have to manage all these things. Now, green accounting is a type of accounting that attempts to factor environmental cost. So, what are the factors which helps in environmental costs into the financial results of operations? It has been argued that gross domestic product ignores the environment, and therefore policymakers need a revised model which should incorporate green accounting system. I've already told all these things. That whenever we calculate gross domestic product GDP, we basically ignore the environmental costs, whatever damage we are doing for the environment to the environment. We are creating a problem for the flora and fauna, glacier problems, pollution, environmental pollution, vehicle pollution, fossil fuels, burning of fossil fuels. So all these factors creates problem for this planet, for this environment. So it has some value. So we should include in case of GDP calculation. So many countries have already implemented all these things. Now there are four form of environmental accounting system. There are basically four forms which is used in environmental accounting system. And the first one is environmental financial accounting system, EFA. So all types of financial accounting system, whatever maintained in the different companies for the benefit of the environment. So how much we spend for the preservation of this environment, for the improvement of this environment. So that transactions are taken into consideration for calculation of environmental financial accounting. Environment cost accounting. So how much cost we incur for pollution and how much cost we incur for the preservation. So both these things has been analyzed. Environmental cost accounting system. Next is environmental management accounting, EMA. Environmental management accounting talks about how we manage this environment so that the pollution will be controlled, regulated, and managed. We will not be able to make it zero pollution. We will try to minimize the pollution level. We have to minimize the pollution level. We have to manage. And environmental nation accounting. Here, so only every nation takes into consideration for how much money they are spending for the environmental preservation. That individual country is taken into consideration for calculation of national income. That is environmental nation accounting system, ENA. Every nation does some expenditure for saving of this environment, making free from pollution, damage to this environment. So whatever expenditures are done for these activities by the nation, by the country, that is taken into consideration. So all these called as the environmental nation account. So there are the four things in case of a different in the form of a environmental accounting. First one is environmental financial accounting, environmental cost accounting, and environmental management accounting and environmental national nation accounting. Now, what are the limitations of this green accounting system or environmental accounting system? Now, the limitations of this green accounting system or the drawback of this environmental accounting system is the proper valuation techniques. Means the valuation techniques for environmental goods and services are imperfect, and the shadow prices are only the partial valuations. So that means there is not proper technique or method so that we can value all these environmental goods and services. So that proper data will be collected and we can calculate the environmental accounting. Because whatever environmental goods like your sea, your environment, your trees, your forest resources, your sea resources. So it is very difficult task to measure so how much pollution we have done to this planet and which country has done how much pollution. And there is a sea environment, ocean environment is also affected. Glacier is also another there. So it's very difficult to measure. There's not a proper techniques, proper method, proper system of valuation of this environment on this sea, on this earth, on this planet. Okay. So for that purpose, it is a very much difficult to calculate the environmental costs. So for that purpose, green accounting system is not adopted by many countries. There is not proper method or technique is available for valuation of this pollution or the damage we incur to this world, to this planet. Social values of and for social values for environmental goods and services are uncertain and change very rapidly. So social value is also there. How much pollution we are doing, how much hazards or waste materials we dump to society, and how much we are creating danger for the society, because in this society human beings are living. So how much damage we have particularly done for this society, because every society has some values, some recognition, some concepts like your values, ethics for maintaining this green accounting system. So non-economic values are also important in political processes. Political parties are also political environment are also creating disturbance, creating damage to this environment also. So these are the non-economic values. Okay. So it is very difficult how much non-economic values, non-economic expenditures are done to this environment. So all these are the limitations of not adopting environmental accounting system, a green accounting system in the whole world. The first one is there is not proper technique which will be valued to this environmental damage. Secondly, the social values are also not possible to calculate how much social value I got from this environment, from this earth, that may not be equal with the other person. So that is also, or how much damage I have done, or how much damage is done by somebody else, and I am the sufferer. So that is the social values we are not able to calculate from this environmental damage, environmental pollution. So that is also taken into consideration. That is also a limitation. And finally, the non-economic values. All these political parties, political propagandas are also creating environmental damage to this planet. So all these are the limitations of this green accounting system. So thank you from my side. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, I will repeat if you need further explanation of this national income methods measurement or national income calculation, the definition part. So any question from the learners, you can ask me. I'm just recalling all these points again. Now again I'm discussing all these points that will create some value in your mind and your doubts will be clear again. GDP versus GNP. So GDP means gross domestic product. It is the total value of a final goods and services produced during a given period of time, and that should be within the geographical boundaries of a country, regardless by whom. By means the residents and non-residents of Indians. Basically, in case of a gross domestic product, the goods and services are produced domestically, where the non-residents are basically included. But in case of gross national product (GNP), is the total value of all these final goods and services produced during a given period by the citizens of a country, no matter where they live, means by the residents of Indians are included in the calculation of national income, that is gross national product (GNP). The goods and services are produced by the nationals of the country. So in case of GNP, only the residents of Indians are taken into consideration for calculation of a GNP, gross national product. Now GDP at market price. Basically, GDP at market price is the total money value of all the final goods and services currently produced within the domestic territory of a country in a year. If you find the formula, that is GDP at market price is equal to summation of a price into quantity, that is equal to the value added, summation of value added, where P is the market price of each final good or services, Q is the quantity of each final goods and services produced. And the formula is GDP at market price is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. So GDP का formula is same, C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Okay. So whenever we calculate by taking the market price for calculation GDP, we call it as the GDP at market price. C already I have told that it is consumption expenditure done by the household sectors. I stands for the investment expenditure done by the private persons, private owners, private business houses, and G stands for the basically government expenditure, and X stands for the exports, and the M stands for the imports. So the net exports, that equal exports minus imports. Okay, that is included in the calculation of a GDP. Already I have already discussed all these points like your GDP, GNP, net NDP, net domestic product, net national product, NNP. Now what is personal income? Income of a person basically known as personal income. But if the income of a person from different sources, basically, we call it as the personal income. If a person is working in office and is getting some salary, so after coming from office, he is also engaged somewhere else and he got some money. And also in the morning, also he also engaged in somewhere else and he also gets some money. So from three sources, that person earns money. So that is the income of a person from various sources. That is known as the personal income. And what is disposable income? Personal disposable income, PDI. So basically, personal disposable income (PDI) is the personal income minus personal taxes. So suppose a person is paying income taxes or other wealth taxes, property taxes. So after paying all types of taxes from his personal income, then we get the personal disposable income. So personal disposable income (PDI) is equal to personal income minus personal taxes (PT), and that is the actual income of a person. Nobody can take this money from that person because he has already paid the taxes. So already I have discussed all these things, like you can say gross national product at market price. Gross national product at market price is the total money value of all the final goods and services produced in a year plus net factor income from abroad. So GNP at market price is equal to GDP at market price plus NFIA. और जीडीपी का जो फॉर्मूला है सी प्लस आई प्लस जी प्लस एक्स माइनस एम प्लस एन एफ आई ए, उस फॉर्मूला को हमने थोड़ा सा रिचेंज कर दिया. Where NFIA is the net foreign income from abroad, net domestic product NDP at market price. What is that? And net domestic product and market price is the money value of all the final goods and services produced within the country after providing for depreciation. Or mathematically, NDP at market price is equal to GDP at market price minus depreciation charges. Depreciation means the fall in value of reduction in value of fixed assets. So if you do the algebraically or mathematically calculation, then GDP at market price formula is C plus I plus G plus X minus M minus D. D stands for depreciation. Again C plus I plus sorry I minus D depreciation हमने माइनस कर दिया, G को हमने प्लस रखा और प्लस X माइनस। अब फॉर्मूला हम देख लिया कि अगेन C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Here D is the depreciation and I is the net domestic capital formation or investment. And now moving further, GNP gross national product. So GNP is the market value of all the goods and services produced by the residents of a particular country. Here it is called as national product, gross national product, total national product, only by the Indians, national. So it includes the income of those residents earned by the corporations owned overseas and from working abroad. Suppose any person, any Indian is working in a foreign country, so in that case also it is calculated because he is a national of, he is a citizen of India. So even if he is working in foreign country, that income is taken into consideration in calculation of national income means the gross national product GNP. So GNP is also equal to GDP plus net factor income from abroad. So difference between national and domestic is net factor income from abroad basically. This income is at the cost of some capital. What about the depreciation? It needs to be adjusted. This leads to net national product. जब डोमेस्टिक का बात आता है, ये डोमेस्टिक बाउंड्री के अंदर में चाहे वो इंडियन हो चाहे वो फॉरेन, जो भी प्रोडक्शन किया जाता है वो कैलकुलेशन किया जाता है। यानी जब नेशनल की बात आता है तो उस टाइम पर ओनली द इंडियंस का जो भी प्रोडक्शन है, जो भी फैक्टर इनकम उनको मिलता है वो कैलकुलेशन किया जाता है। डोमेस्टिक में बोथ कैलकुलेशन किया जाता है, रेसिडेंट्स एंड नॉन रेसिडेंट्स, बट इन केस ऑफ नेशनल्स ओनली द इंडियंस का जो भी प्रोडक्शन वैल्यू, प्रोडक्शन इनकम, फैक्टर इनकम्स दैट इज टेकन इनटू कंसीडरेशन फॉर calculation of the GNP, gross national product. So basically NNP at market price is equal to GNP at market price minus depreciation. Already we have discussed. So NDP at market price का फॉर्मूला जो है C plus I plus G plus X माइनस है, हमने उसको डाल दिया, प्लस NFIA जो नेट फैक्टर इनकम फ्रॉम अब्रॉड उसको हमने डाल दिया, माइनस कर दिया डेप्रिसिएशन दैट इज D. ओके, सो सबको अगर प्लस माइनस करने के बाद C plus I plus G plus X minus M plus NFIA हमने प्लस माइनस कर दिया. So here D is the depreciation, I is the net domestic capital formation income. So basically just remember that NNP at market price is equal to GNP at market price minus depreciation, or another formula is NNP at market price equal to NDP at market price plus NFIA. NDP at market price का जो फॉर्मूला है C plus I plus G plus X minus M plus NFIA minus depreciation. ठीक है. Net national product at market price already we have discussed. So to reach at the NNP at market price, we have to deduct depreciation charges from the gross national product GNP. So there are also all these things, domestic factor income or net domestic product at factor cost. I have already told domestic factor income or NDP at factor cost is equal to wages and salaries in kind of cash plus contribution to social security plus rents including imputed rents plus royalties, interest, undistributed profits, dividends, and mixed incomes of self-employed groups. That is all taken into consideration at factor. Basically, the land, labor, capital, organization का जो चार फैक्टर का जो इनकम है, ये चार फैक्टर इनकम को जोड़ देंगे तो हमें मिल जाएगा एनडीपी एट फैक्टर कॉस्ट. So all these things we have already discussed. measurement of national income. So basically there are three ways or important methods for calculation of national income. That is product method, income method, expenditure method. In product method, we take into consideration the all the final products, not the intermediate products, the money value of all the final products. In case of income method, we use the factor incomes for calculation of national income, wages, rent, profit, and interest. All these factors give some income are taken into consideration for calculation of national income through income method. And in case of expenditure method, we take into account the consumption expenditure done by the household sectors. I stands for private expenditures done by the private authorities. Government, G stands for government, that is the expenditure done by the government authorities. School, college, hospital, road, canals, all these expenditures are many activities are done by the government. For that purpose, government does some expenditures, some amount. So that is called as calculation of national income through expenditure method. There are two other methods are also there, which is called as social accounting method and a combined method. And India uses the combined method for calculation of national income, product method and income method. So already I have all this discussed all these points. Methods of measuring national income, factor income method, value added or product method, final expenditure method. So all these methods we have already discussed. Income method. आप देख सकते हो कि मेजरमेंट ऑफ नेशनल इनकम मेथड्स में जैसे लिखा है कि प्रोडक्ट मेथड और आउटपुट मेथड और प्रोडक्शन मेथड, वैल्यू एडेड मेथड उसको भी बोला जाता है, इनकम मेथड है, कंजप्शन और एक्सपेंडिचर मेथड है। तो पहला पॉइंट में लिखा है कि प्रोडक्ट मेथड क्या होता है कि ग्रॉस वैल्यू एडेड दैट इज इक्वल टू आउटपुट ऑफ फाइनल गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज माइनस इंटरमीडिएट कंजप्शन। जो मैं बोल रहा था कि इंटरमीडिएट प्रोडक्ट्स को हिसाब में नहीं लिया जाता है। और सेकंड पॉइंट में क्या होता है जीडीपी इक्वल टू ग्रॉस वैल्यू एडेड प्लस इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस माइनस सब्सिडी इन केस ऑफ प्रोडक्ट मेथड। इन केस इनकम मेथड नेशनल इनकम कैलकुलेशन किया जाता है टोटल रेट प्लस टोटल वेजेस प्लस टोटल इंटरेस्ट प्लस टोटल प्रॉफिट। आई हैव ऑलरेडी एक्सप्लेन ऑल दिस थिंग्स। In case of consumption expenditure method, consumption expenditure of consumers plus consumption expenditure of investors or the entrepreneurs, which we call it the investment by the private authorities and also consumption expenditure by the government. Now, what is the usefulness of national income estimates? Why we require national income calculation? It shows how the production is changing to its output and the effects of government policies and programs. Because every government is making different types of policies, programs, plans for the development of the country, for the development of our transportation system, for infrastructure development, for IT development, for the telecom development, for the defense sector development. So all these sectors development का डेवलपमेंट हो पाएगा जब देश का नेशनल इनकम, हमारा पास इनकम कितना है, उसी हिसाब से हम जितने भी हमारा पास इम्पोर्टेंट सेक्टर्स हम उसमें इन्वेस्टमेंट करेंगे, हम उसमें एक्सपेंडिचर करेंगे ताकि विल गिव बेनिफिट टू द सिटीजन्स फॉर द वेलफेयर ऑफ आवर कंट्री। Basically, it analyzes the relation between input of one industry and the output of the other. So every industry depends on another industry. Somebody is providing the raw material, somebody is providing other material for the development of the final product. So here, national income analyzes the relation between input of one industry is the output of other. Circular flow of income, जैसे मैं समझाया था कल, income of one person becomes the expenditure of another person. And further, it reveals the distribution of income among economic units. जितने भी इकोनॉमिक यूनिट्स हैं, इकोनॉमिक एजेंट्स हैं, the household sector to the government to the private parties, production, consumption, distribution, all these things. So total income is distributed among all the economic agents or economic units. So changes of a taste and a fashion are revealed which help businessmen in deciding what to produce or for whom to produce. National income is also helpful for calculation of exactly the taste and preference, their lifestyle, the fashion system, the consumers are using, the citizens are using day by day. So it will helpful for us because at the time of calculation, whenever we took the data of product method in that time, so which product is more sellable in the market, which is most demanded by the customers, that is also taken into consideration for further usefulness of this national income accounting system. And the national income quantum indices the ability of a country to pay its shares for international purpose. It will helpful for us to become a IMF membership and also World Bank membership, International Monetary Fund (IMF), International Monetary Fund. So if we have a proper national income system, so we can reflect that our country's income is in a good position. We can contribute for the development of the society, for the development of the world. So we want to be a member of your organization, that is World Bank or IMF. So it also helps for major economic growth of our country. The country which have more or which country's GDP percentage is more, that country is more developed. So from this information we can get if we calculate this income. So it also helps for the proper planning because the national income also helps for the success and failure of a planning of a country, for the budget also. Estimate per capita income also helps for national income. If we divide the total population divided by total income of the country, then we get the per capita income or head income. What is the every person's income in a country, average income of a person in our country? It is also helpful for calculation of per capita income. Also, it helps for assessing or analyzing performance of different production sectors. Major inequalities in distribution of income. So it also gives some idea about how the total income of the country is distributed among rich and poor. Is there any disequalities? Is there any inequalities in income distribution between, there is a gap between rich and poor? And what is the standard of living of the people? So all these informations we get from the national income calculation. It also helps for further investment, international investments. International companies can come to India because they know that this country's national income GDP is in a good position, so they can invest in our country. So all these informations are coming from the national income calculation. Okay, so बेसिकली नेशनल इनकम अगर हम कैलकुलेशन करते हैं सही तरह से, so it will help for the economic welfare of the society, welfare of the country as a whole. Okay, so I think I have cleared all your doubts. If you have any doubt you can ask me. Now dear learners, if you have any doubt you can ask me, otherwise you will wind up the class. No question. Uh, Gita madam, are you there? So any learner, any question you can ask me. Hello. You can also chat in the chat box also if you have any question. I'm waiting for your question. Okay, I think there is no question. Nobody's there, I think, to ask. I have cleared all your doubts, I think. So we will meet in the next class. So thank you for your patience listening. Thank you, Odisha State Open University, for giving me a chance to teach the learners, the students. So thank you, Gita madam, and thank you all the coordinators for these classes. So thank you all. Thank you.